I didn't see you there. Of course I did, because I put the camera there. What's up, boys and girls? How are you doing? It's your uncle here, orangefingers_98. And today we're gonna talk about the art of improvisation. What is improvisation? Basically, a wank fest, a dick measuring contest where you solo as fast as possible over a guitar backing track. No, that's not it. I'm going to teach you the proper way to improvise over a backing track, any backing track for that matter, and make it sound as good as fuck. So let's get started. What is improvisation? Basically, it's when you solo over a backing track that you haven't heard before, and you try to come up with a solo that no one has pre-arranged for you. You basically have to come up with a solo on the spot as you're playing. Many people have differing definition of improvisation, but that's improvisation for me. It's like I just did there. I had to take a crap, and I have to also video. I had to improvise.
With Orange Fingers, I haven't heard the song before. How can I possibly improvise over it? I don't know what key I'm in. I don't know what shapes that I have to play. Sit down, relax, son. We'll get there. Be patient. For me, I think that there are 3 ways in which you can improvise and make it sound good.
Number 1, lick-based improvisation. Okay, what are guitar licks? Guitar licks are basically musical ideas that are repeatable and transferable, and they are largely independent on the musical context. What a load of gibberish. Is this guy even speaking English? Guitar licks are basically guitar patterns, ways of playing notes that can be repeated and can be applied to any song, any backing track, any segment of any pieces of music. But a close attention to the underlying backing track may make a difference. It's a key in making the solos sound good. Guitar licks can be transposed to any key. So say you have a really nice melody, da 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 da. You can transpose it to a different key, da 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 da. It's still the same lick, but in different key. Usually, guitar licks are the key characteristic of a guitarist. If you think of Yngwie, he always plays this lick that no matter what solo you hear, you will always hear this same characteristic of guitar playing. I'll show you an example. This is a very typical Yngwie Malmsteen lick. What about Marty Friedman? Those of you who have followed me for a long time will know that Marty is my favorite guitarist. And whenever you hear a Marty Friedman solo, you will know that it's his playing, because he has this very characteristic Japanese sounding lick and out of tune, back into tune bending. I'll show you an example. But Orange Fingers, why are guitar licks important? They are important, my friends. They are the key to increasing your musical vocabulary, and this is how you craft beautiful guitar solos. Think of speaking English. For my non-English speakers out there, when you first learn the language, you have to learn the words. Hi, hello, yellow, red, orange, fingers. And then you turn them into sentences. I like to party. I like to have sex. And then you make them into stories, like my depressive blog posts. It's the same with the guitar playing, dude. You learn the licks, and then you make sentences, like little passages. And then you turn them into guitar solos that will last out the centuries. But like any other things in life, such as drugs, sex, alcohol, I know I'm not getting enough of any of those. Guitar licks can be overdone. Have you ever been to Guitar Center and you hear this guy shredding out this lick over and over again? So the employees have to ask him to leave the store. Don't fall into this trap, guys. Use the licks to broaden your horizon, to learn different styles of guitar playing and incorporate them into your own playing, but don't overuse them. And I'll show you how to do that in the next part of the video. What do I recommend to increase this knowledge? Search up on YouTube right now. 30 Guitarists in One Solo by Ben Higgins. When I first heard this, my musical vocabulary blew up. I was introduced to all these different guitars that I didn't know existed, and their playing are so unique. I have to steal some of their licks and incorporate them into my own playing and make my guitar solo sound more interesting. And I would recommend you to do the same as well. If you hear a good guitar lick, learn it, and somehow when you're playing your own solo, they are gonna come out. You will start to use some of those ideas and your solo is gonna be mint. Alright, boys and girls, I talked about guitar licks. They are pretty much guitar patterns that you could apply to any song. You can even transpose it to a different key if you like that lick so much. But now we're getting real. We're talking about the melody. This is melodic based guitar playing. It basically means playing to your ears. Alright, now melodic bass playing is not learned. It's not as rigid as guitar licks. It's basically your own interpretation of the guitar backing track that you are hearing. If you hear a sad backing track, surely you would want to play sad melodies to convey this emotion to the audience. But if you hear a happy guitar backing track, then surely you would try to make the audience feel happy and stuff. You play happy melodies and stuff. Yeah, that's basically it. This melodic bass playing is what people normally think of as the soul or the feel of the guitar solo. And this is what they think of when they hear the word improvising. Both styles of guitar playing are very useful in their own way. Lick-based guitar playing is a learned pattern. You can learn a lot of patterns, and when you hear a guitar backing track and you have no idea what to play over them, just play the licks because they help to fill up the spaces, as long as you stay in the right key, that is. But like I said, it can be overdone. Melodic guitar playing, on the other hand, it cannot be learned. It's basically what you play as you come up with the idea in your head when you're listening to the song. However, its own disadvantages, because it is unpredictable. Let's face it, when you hear a song for the first time and you have no idea what to play over the backing track, if you play a guitar lick, it's basically muscle memory. It's a learned response and you can carry that out without no problem. But with melodic playing, because it's a melody that you came up in your head just then when you heard the backing track, it can often be hard to hit the right notes. Sometimes you don't really play the same melody that you think of in your head. In my opinion, a more calculated approach is much safer, and I will show you that. So how do you increase this melodic control? Well, for me, the only way in which you can get this sense of musicality is to experience them all. So go out there and listen to a wide range of music. Don't just stick with rock and heavy metal. If you only listen to the top 40, don't do that. Just go out there and explore the world of music. Listen to jazz, classical, blues, hip-hop, funk, what else? Anything that you can think of. World music, Indian music, anime music, anything really, to expand your ears. And your ears will get used to all these melodies, and somehow when you're playing your guitar solo, this will come out. And you will hear people say about these soulful melodic guitarists like Slash, Marty Friedman, Gary Moore. They all have something in common. They have expanded their horizon by listening to different style of music. Arabian, Japanese music, jazz. They incorporated them into their own guitar playing. That's why it sounds so damn good. So that's what you should be doing as well. Go out there and listen to different music. Lastly, this is often an overlooked aspect in guitar playing, and that is dynamic based guitar playing. Basically the wank fest of the guitar solo. What do I mean by this? Dynamic bass guitar playings are basically things like whammy bar abuse, wah pedal, fake pedal abuse, hitting a note differently, accenting different parts, palm muting, tapping, or doing some weird techniques on the guitar. It can also be groove or percussive bass playing, or showing some aggression, like playing it harder. This usually comes down to individual artistic expression. I could even lump this into the melodic bass playing, but I feel like it deserved its own discussion, because I see so many guitar players, they play guitar solo, but it sounds the same throughout. Just have this precision. And I don't know about you, but I think to make any guitar solo sound good, you have to have a contrast between the quiet part and the loud part, the fast part and the slow part. There's always this fine balance. Just like life, there has to be a balance. If it's too precise, and if that's what you're into, then go for it. But for me, for my own personal opinion, there has to be a contrast. There has to be different parts to the solo. Some people might even opt out of this dynamic playing, and that's fine too. But this is how you add colors to your own playing. So you think of players like Eddie Van Halen, Andy Timmons, Zakk Wylde, Nuno Bettencourt, Vito Bratta, Guthrie Govan, Dimebag Darrell, Jake E. Lee, Randy Rhoads. They all have very dynamic guitar playing. Boys and girls, if you think about it, guitar soloing is a lot like storytelling. In order to make any story interesting, you gotta add dynamics into them or special sound effects. Boom! The terrorist said as he entered the room. Plop! I felt something wet between my legs. It turns out I have explosive diarrhea. Take a plain old boring guitar. Thanks, Ingve Malmsteen. You add a little bit of vibrato at the end, it sounds much more aggressive than just playing this. Boring! You might even throw in a pinch harmonic at the end as well to make it sound even more edgy. See? That's how you add more dynamic into your playing. You might even do this. But don't overuse it though. Like anything in life, it can be overdone as well. Good, so we have talked about the 3 types of improvisation, or I like to think of them more in terms of techniques. Now we are going straight into how you can apply them into your own playing, and how to craft the perfect guitar solo to any backing track. Okay, boys and girls, the most important thing when you hear a song for the first time and you want to solo over it is to determine the song's key. Why is this important? Well, this establishes a home base in which you can pull back to if you go out into the field and you don't know how to advance a solo further. You can always pull back to these safe notes within this key, and that will make your solo sound decent. You know those people in China or North Korea, those little musical geniuses that can hear any song and know what key they are in, and they seem to have this perfect pitch whenever they hear a note. They know exactly what note they are playing. Well, for us mere mortals, we can't really do that. I don't have perfect pitch, and I'm sure that most of you who are watching this also struggle with this. But by doing the following method, I'm sure you will be able to determine the song's key. This method I'm about to show you has been proven to work with most songs, and what it involves is that you play a song and then you hum to it. You see, it's a weird thing about our brain. Somehow it can hear all these notes and then combine them to create this one single note that seems to fit in with all these notes. I'll show you what I mean. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna pull a song on YouTube. I'm gonna play the song and then I'm just going to hum to it. After I hum the notes, I will try to match that note on my guitar, and then from there I can count the fret and figure out what note I'm playing, and that's gonna be the key of the song. Probably heard this song before. Already I can tell. Just by humming to it, like this is the note that fits in with all the melody. Try it. Try all the notes. This note seems to fit in with everything, and I'm going to try to match it on my guitar. If you've been playing guitar for a while, you will sort of know where everything is, but if you're starting out, this would be a good point. So So I'm guessing that's a C sharp. Let's find out. Guys, I went to Wiki and I found out the song was written in the key of C sharp. Now you use this method to find the key of the song, and then after that you need to figure out whether the song is in C sharp minor or major. Oh, it's gonna be a different topic for another day. But depending on your musical knowledge and background, you may wish to apply some musical theory into it. So C sharp, is it a minor or a major? I think it's a minor, because if I play the C sharp major scale, it doesn't seem to fit in. It sounds too happy almost. You get the idea? And then if I play C sharp minor, it fits in perfectly. Yeah, so I'll go with C sharp minor. And what is the relative major of C sharp minor? E major. So you play E major scale on top of this C sharp minor backing track, it would sound more or less the same, like it would work. And this should be your home base, what you need to establish as the safe notes for your solos. When you're noodling around, you're improvising, you get lost, then you can always fall back into the E major scale or the C sharp minor scale, and your solo is gonna sound alright. It won't sound out of place. Say you have a guitar backing track that you would like to solo over, but you don't even know the key of the backing track. How do you even get to that note to determine the key in order for you to start playing the licks that you have learned in the past, or playing what comes up in your head to fit in with that key? It's a hit and miss situation, my friends. Just have to take a calculated risk and go for it. Sometimes you're gonna hit the right note within the scale. Sometimes you're gonna hit a bum note. In that case, there are ways to fix that. But my advice to you would be to start slow and at a lower volume so that you don't trigger other people when they're listening to you. Now, like I said before, there needs to be a balance in life. There needs to be contrast between the soft and the loud part, the fast and the slow part. So when you're first starting out, my approach to guitar improvisation would be to start slow and at a lower volume, and then build up to a climax. So what I would do is that I would slide into a random note, and hopefully that would fit in with the key of the song. And then once I've determined the key tonality of the backing track, then I start to play around with the melodies a little bit. I start to play what I think of in my head. And once I get comfortable with the idea of the song, and I know where my safe spots are, the patterns and stuff, the spots on the guitar that I could always go back to if I run out of ideas, then I start playing the fast stuff, the licks that I've learned from my favorite guitarists, other inspirations from other musical genres, the licks that I have created myself as well. I'm gonna throw some of that in there if I know that it's gonna fit in with the key of the song. And keep this in mind too, guys, when you're learning licks, try to transpose them to every single key. That way, when a solo calls for it, you can pull them out of the bag. You will know how the licks feel. It's all in the muscle memory. You'll get used to it. You will know how to play the lick in any position. And if you like, you can add more dynamic, more variation to the lick. So say you play lick twice. Maybe the first time around you play it exactly as how you had intended for it to be played, and the second time around you modify it a little bit to add a little bit of color into your playing. And then maybe sometimes during the solo you can always cut back to the beginning stage where you're just building up the momentum, and you may even build it up to a faster speed. So it's like a roller coaster. It's gonna be dependent on the musician, really. How do you express yourself as a musician? That's up to you. You need to vary your guitar playing a little bit to make it sound interesting and less predictable to the audience. At a basic level, in order to improvise, what you need to know is that you need to know the key of the song, roughly what position on the fretboard can always go back to should you fail to play the notes or play the melodies that you have intended to play. You might be asking me right now, why do you have all this jelly on the table? There's this guitarist on YouTube who goes by the name of David Walliman, and he's a very good jazz fusion guitarist, and he talks about improvisation techniques in his video. There's this analogy that I really liked. What he did was that he demonstrated how there can be different parts to a guitar solo. Imagine this bowl is the guitar solo. Imagine this big blocky jelly are the guitar licks that you've learned. You've learned 1, 2, 3, 6 guitar licks, and this bag of smaller jelly is the melody that comes up in your head. Starts off the solo, chucking some of that in, finding out the right notes, finding out the key of the song, and then occasionally he might throw in a guitar lick. And some more soulful guitar playing. Depends on the person really. If you're a more based guitarist, you might do this all the time. But if you're more like me, you're gonna start to noodle around a little bit before throwing in a few cheeky licks. So as the solo goes on, put in more of this. This is your creative juice. And you throw in a fast legato run. And then you do some more melodies, chuck in a big fat lick at the end. That's it. That's your guitar solo. It's not full yet. You still have some creative juice left. Smoke that in until you put everything in the basket. Guys, to be honest, I don't know how long the video is gonna turn out, because when I first had the idea of recording this video, I thought to myself, it's just gonna be a quick beginner instructional video for improvisation. I didn't realize how complicated it actually is. I am going to demonstrate how I approach guitar improvisation over a backing track that I haven't heard before in my life. And you will see this creative process, and hopefully it can help you start improvisation as well. Okay, I've been lying to you guys. I do know the scale of the song. It's in E minor. But anyway, what I've said before still applies. So take a listen. Very cool, very dramatic. Ideas are coming to you when you start sitting down and improvise. You can see all these influences start to come out. So I'm going to end the video here, and if you like to see more videos of this nature, let me know in the comments below and I will try to make more of them. I know I'm not the best guitar teacher, but I do try to share what I do know, and hopefully that's gonna help some of you out in your musical journey. That's all I have to say. Rock on, good people.